Why do we love and feel the need for a hierarchy? Because if you answer that question, then all the other questions about religion and science and the rest of that stuff go out the window and are answered for you as well. You know, the question of why do we feel the need to have a hierarchy is the same as the question which a lot of people have asked and said before, but nobody seems to want to ask the thing about the hierarchy, but it's the same thing. Why is it that humans are the only creature that requires a religion? That's because we were supplanted with one. We don't naturally, a religion is not something that is necessary for our survival. But why do we feel that it is? Same thing with a hierarchy. These are things that have been planted into us, introduced to us. They are not necessities for our survival. You do not need a hierarchy of other individuals, other alleged humans, ruling over you and dictating to you in order for you to survive. Everything we need to survive is found naturally occurring on this planet. I mean, there are cancer cures growing in mushrooms out there in the world that you can go pick off the ground and eat and cure of cancer. There is nothing the human body can have wrong with it, but it can't be fixed by natural occurring things on this planet. You know, is whether or not you believe in a god or a devil or a prophet or anything else, is that necessary for your survival? On a base animal level, do you need a deity in the sky watching you jerk off under the covers and you know, checking his list to see if who's naughty and nice? I mean, is that really necessary for your survival? No. So why do we continue to allow ourselves to believe that we need these things? We do not need a hierarchy for our survival. We do not need a religion for our survival. So why don't we toss all that out and get back down to what we need to survive and live on this planet? Oh, we can't have that because then you can't have power, can you? Nope, you can't have control. You can't have maniacal egomaniacs ruling over populations, can you? Because if we did away with those things that are not necessary to our survival, you'd be surprised how quick the problems of this world would go away. So the problems in this world are coming from things that are being introduced to us from the time that we can open our eyes. We are inundated with things that are not necessary for our survival. And that's where we need to start identifying the source of the problem at. Not running around screaming and yelling about who's a shill and who's not a shill and who's a Jew and who's not a Jew and who's a Jesuit and who's not a Jesuit, but who are the people that we can identify at the highest, deepest core of this, who are introducing things into the human experience that are not necessary for our survival. Number one, a religion, and number two, a hierarchy. And as my research has found, it goes directly to the people that happen to be connected to the people out there that claim to be the truth speakers and the revolutionaries and the truth tellers. It makes me sick to my stomach. These guys like Alex Jones, they don't know how to spell the word truth. They don't know what it's like. These guys don't know what it's like to give everything up to do this. These guys Alex Jones gets his meals paid for everywhere he goes in a glass bottom boat and $1 million house with live-in maids. You think that guy is hurting for the truth? Fuck no. You have to throw away the earthly desires if you really want to know what's going on. because the things come to play in this society where eventually it's like no matter what you try to do, you almost have to completely shut yourself off from the rest of society to not be inside of the system of evil that you're fighting against. It's very difficult. But I think that's where we need to start putting our energy and our research is let's find out, if you can find out who is controlling the hierarchy and in introducing the need for a hierarchy and introducing a need for a religion into the human experience, that's who we need to fucking get out of town. That's the people we need to identify as a threat. Do the bankers have the power to introduce a hierarchy and a religion? They sure don't. Because the bankers are but a minion, another minion of this much higher power we're discussing. All of these groups. Now, what's highly interesting is that with this group, the Council for National Policy, they what makes them more powerful than a group like the Council on Foreign Relations or the Trilateral Commission or the Bilderberg Group is that this is a group that has direct ties with the people that are introducing a culture and introducing a hierarchy and in religion to us, introducing that artificially into our human experience. Because these are people that have direct, verifiable connections with these ancient bloodlines, Merovingian bloodlines, Illuminati bloodlines going back thousands and thousands of years that go again back to the demigods who were put in positions of power by the Anunnaki. So this is why the exposing the connection to the CMP and the connection to people like Alex Jones have, this is why it's so important. I'll tell you, it always seems that when I'm doing research or I'm working on film, this happened almost the exact same time last year. I think it happened in December, like right around Christmas last year. Almost a year to the day. It's so weird, the synchronicities in life. And it was about a year ago. I was kind of, I was doing some stuff and I was kind of taking a break. So I was watching that Star Trek thing. And when I was watching that Star Trek thing, I came across that clip of Shatner talking about the hoaxed technology they used in the Apollo moon landings. And so that was one of those, interesting piece of information that I came across while I was kind of, having some downtime. Well, last night I was watching, I found like a 1 minute or 2 minute piece of this, and it had a link over to another website off of YouTube. The actual interview wasn't on YouTube. It was off YouTube and onto another website. It was a full interview. It was an interview with Stuart Copeland. He was the former drummer of the band The Police. He's one of my favorite drummers. And he put a book out recently. It was an interview with some kid at his house, and they were talking about, his history in the Police and playing drums and different stuff. And I know quite a bit about Stuart Copeland because he's one of my favorite drummers. And he put out this film in the 1980s called The Rhythmatist. And it's generally him going to like Africa and going to all these different places and getting all the different like Bali rhythms and stuff and putting different rhythms. And there's this scene in the film, it's pretty funny, where they're in Africa and they're on this ranch and there's these lions everywhere. And they put Stuart Copeland's drum kit inside of a cage and close him up. And he's playing away on the drums, banging away. And all these fucking lions, man, are going ape shit, just pounding into the fucking bam, bam, pounding into this cage while he's just wailing away on the drums because he's just making so much noise that it's just driving him crazy. And it's all on film, and he's pounding into it. Well, in this interview that I watched, I was just having some downtime and I was watching this interview, and the kid asked him something about shooting this thing with the lions and being in this lion cage. And he said, yeah, we were out on this ranch. We were in Africa and we're out on this guy's ranch. He was a Khashoggi, a gazillionaire. And I went, wait. What the fuck did he just say? Let me back that shit up a minute. Yeah, we were out on this guy's ranch. He was a Khashoggi, a gazillionaire. I went, wait a second. So he just admitted, Stuart Copeland admitted in that video that he shot that footage on a Khashoggi's ranch in Africa. And I went, wait a second, Queen, you know, Freddie Mercury, the band Queen, they had a song on their 1989 album called Khashoggi's Ship. And you can go verify this. That song is about Adana Khashoggi's big ship that he has. One of the Saudi princes owns it now. And he had a nightclub and all this. And Queen used to go hang out on this. So I'm going, what is a bloodline Saudi arms dealer who owns the Genesis Communications radio network hanging out with all these different rock stars? And isn't it interesting that Stuart Copeland's father was in the OSS and he was one of the founding members of the CIA, which probably makes him Sovereign Military Order of Malta. All the founding members of the CIA were Sovereign Military Order of Malta, confirmed, all of them. And Stuart Copeland's father was in the, and I believe his mother was in MI6 as well. And both his parents were spooks. That's why their brother Miles Copeland III, who was he was the manager for the police. His other brother Ian started a booking agency. It was called CIA Booking. Then they started another one called FBI Sound. Then they started another group, you know, then his brother started a record label called IRS Records. So they named all these different music things after different, you know, government agencies. And there were some declassified documents that came out a few years ago that confirmed that Miles Copeland II was, Stuart Copeland's father was a spy during the Cold War and all this stuff. So I was blown away, you know, there I was having some downtime and I'm going, man, isn't this odd that I'm doing all this research? I'm working on the C Right 2. I'm putting all this stuff about Adana Khashoggi and finding those connections. I'm going, my God, here's two more connections to Adana Khashoggi to, you know, superstars and musicians and rock stars. And then I think about those connections with how, of course, Adana Khashoggi was funneling money. He was the guy that was providing the arms to Michael Aquino, who set up the Temple of Set in America and who was also responsible for kidnapping Johnny Gosch, who became Jeff Gannon. That's all going to be in the film. All of that. All of that is coming out in the film. You're going to fucking freak out when you see the news clips we have on this stuff, folks, that we got from the news archive, stuff that's never been seen. We have a clip of Johnny Gosch's mother saying the FBI botched the investigation. I'm trying to hold back because I don't want to give too much of this stuff away. This movie's going to fucking blow your socks off, man. You will not believe the dots I've connected. And you connect that also with the fact that Alex Jones, you know, all these celebrities, where you ever think for a second, maybe wonder how he met all these celebrities and how he started getting in to know all these people? And, you know, I was sort of hesitant on the whole, well, I mean, we know that Adana Khashoggi owns all these, he owns like 20 different front groups with the name Genesis in front of them. And how I confirmed that he indeed owned Genesis Communications Radio Network was because he had a company called Genesis Intermedia. And John Gray, the guy who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, went on the record. I have a quote from him where he said that Adana Khashoggi ripped him off and didn't pay a bunch of money that he owed him for the release of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And so I said, okay, well, there's the proof that Genesis Intermedia is the same thing as Genesis Communications Radio Network. And what really sealed the deal on it was when I later found out that John Gray, who wrote that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, also has been a regular guest on the Genesis Communications Radio Network. He's also a 9/11 truther and has been on the Alex Jones Show. So again, you know, that little Stuart Copeland thing that I found, one of those strange things that just happens when, you know, when you're just kind of having some downtime and not really trying to look at information. It's amazing how the things float to you